Good evening, everyone. With the time being 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, February 27th, 2024, I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order and ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the February 13th, 2024 meeting. Is there any discussion around those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yeah.
Yes, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening. Thank you. We'll have a quick, brief meeting tonight since last week was February break and there's not a lot to report this evening. I will start with a personnel update. I'm happy to report we have a new hire, Carla Maldonado. She is a bilingual paraprofessional at Park Ave Elementary, so we're excited to have her on board. Welcome, Carla. We also recently had a resignation from Chrissy Maletti. She is a Bartlett High School ELL teacher. We are already interviewing and we do have a candidate in the works, so we're hopeful to fill that position quickly. That is all I have for personnel updates right now. And other updates, as you know, from the lay of the land around here and everything on the outside of the building, the Bartlett building project is well underway. They were here actively working last week. Ms. Contos is going to give you a much detailed report a little later, but some important information to note is that the administration at the high school and middle school, along with our public safety leaders, our police department and fire, our EMS, our dispatch, our building project staff are going to be holding a safety meeting next week to review the current status of the buildings, double check our exits. As we, we're going to have different ways to leave the buildings. We will be updating our evac plans and making sure that students know and staff know in a case of an emergency how we're going to exit the building now. We will be asking for some drills to make sure that we're moving in the right direction and everybody knows what we're supposed to do. So we just want to make sure that communication is ongoing with our public safety leaders so that way in the event of any kind of issue, fire, anything like that, that we are prepared and we are up to date with all our plans and we know what we're doing. So I look forward to having that next week. Any questions with that? No? And then over February break, we've been talking about chronic absenteeism a lot around the district here. We held our first attendance academy. It was held at the middle school. We invited 20 students based on their attendance. Over the week, we had 12 students show up each day. This was an opportunity for students to make up time. So in order for them to be eligible for the camp, they had to be considered to be chronically absent. So it was a way for them to earn back some attendance and also an opportunity to make up some work. The students were making up all their assignments. We even had some students who completed their work that was missing within 2 days. So we used that as an opportunity to do MCAS questions and some MCAS prep for those students. So I think for a first time, it was a successful camp, and we look to be doing more. We're talking about April break, and we're talking about options for Saturday school as to making up some time and attendance along with work. So we will be doing more moving forward with that. And then this Friday coming up, we have another half-day PD, so the grids will be going out this week. Friday is a half-day for our students, and the afternoon is a professional development for our staff. So we are prepared and ready to go. And that's really all I have for updates for you this evening, unless you have any questions.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
The program that happened over vacation, was that only at the middle school?
Yes, yep, and we're looking to expand that to the high school
Yeah.
for April. Yep,
Okay. Excellent. Thank you for the updates.
you're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions? All right. The next item on the agenda is the business manager report. Good evening, Mrs. Contos.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the building committee update or the renovation project, and I think I'll give you parts of my update using this slideshow that the superintendent's bringing up right now. I think that's the best way to walk through this. So just so everyone's aware, as the superintendent mentioned, last week was a very busy week here in the school with lots of activities going on to prepare for the chairlift installation as well as getting going on demolition. So let's advance through. I'm going to walk you through just a few pictures so you can get a preview of what it looks like. What you see here for demolition activities is on the left. That is the auditorium. And that's without all the chairs removed there. The bottom one is actually in C-section where the lockers were. And you can see we found some graffiti behind the lockers from the original construction, which I thought was pretty funny. I don't know who Marty and Tony are, but certainly they left their mark in 1978 or 79. And then you can see in the bathrooms out, we're starting to do the demolition. Now, demolition activities will continue over the period of a couple weeks here, but that's some of the pictures I was able to get for this evening. You will have noticed when you came in outside in the parking lot, we have lost half of that parking lot now. That's that's okay. It's part of the construction zone, but prep work was done last week to mobilize that grassy area for the 2 trailers that you see out there. And just so everyone knows, the trailers are not for anyone in the school building. Those are actually the offices for the general contractor, our OPM, which is the owner's project manager, and the architect offices, which will be located out there. A couple of things to note. They're hoping to be moving into those offices by next week. However, we do not have it powered yet by National Grid, so they will be running off of a generator for a short period of time while we're waiting for National Grid to get the electricity powered. But they do have all the Wi-Fi up and running in there, and they're ready to go and anxious to move in there. Right now, they're working up in between B and C section as their offices in the interim. So really excited about that. There was lots of work going on in the parking lot and getting that area sort of settled so that it wasn't muddy as they were moving across to get to the trailers. Kind of picking up on what the superintendent mentioned, just to kind of give you a preview, this is coming from above the principal's office, and this is the emergency egress, the stairs that were put in. So that students, in the case of an emergency, if they needed to exit the building, they had an access and an egress. And you might recall there was a brick wall up there, so that's what's been taken down so that you can go down those stairs. Moving along, I think the other key things that happened last week is that the construction zone walls were put up. So actually upstairs and downstairs, there were 2 sets of walls put up. The ones that are closest to B section, and then there's another set of walls further back because, as you may recall, until the chairlift is installed, we need to have access to the existing elevator. So what you're seeing here is on the left-hand side, that is moving towards the art room or the exit on the other side of the building, and on the right-hand side would bring you out by the principal's office. So again, those are the walls that we see up. There's locks on those doors as you egress through there. Anyone who needs to use the elevator is escorted to the elevator, and that adult or staff member has a key to get into that zone. So we are keeping that locked. The other thing to note, this is just more of the temporary walls. This is upstairs. It was going up, just to give you another preview of what it looks like upstairs. And then lastly, let's take a look at what it looks like for the chairlift. So we have enclosures for the installation of the chairlift that have been put up so that we can contain that construction area. So upstairs and downstairs, you will see a blocked off room for where that chairlift will be constructed. Right now, in terms of the chairlift, what we're waiting on is the state permitting to allow us to move forward with the actual construction or the assembly of the chairlift itself. The GC is predicting it will take about 6 full business days to get that set up and operational. So that we should hopefully have a date on that fairly soon. And I think on the next set of slides, I may have shown you the hole in the floor, yeah, the hole that was put in. So on Friday, they cut out the hole. They actually had a generator here to power that. And so it's ready to go. Just a matter of getting the permit and being able to get the chairlift assembled. Let me pause, see if there's any questions.
We're having weekly meetings now. That attends most every weekly. I'll attend some. And, you know, things that are being discussed, like this week, this meeting today, we talked about some of the screening, where we are with the project, walk the grounds. We're going to put some of that privacy screening up, especially coming down the middle school driveway on that road. There's a lot of walkers down. That's where some of the parking. So that'll be screened into the end of the high school building.
They're also going to move, there's a big yellow sort of storage container out there. They're going to move that back for visibility so that when you're pulling out of the middle school or the high school, when you're coming around, that will also be removed. And then we're also going to add in some additional parking in the back for the contractors. There's not enough space for them right now, so we're going to fence off another area back there that we'll be able to open up in the evening for events that are going on so that we don't lose all of that parking.
So
Yes.
it's busy, but it's a good busy. Happening. I know we're in the early stages that will improve as we're getting into routines process and how we're navigating it all, but I think it's been pretty smooth so far. Going through it, it's just communication is key, and making sure we're staff in the building, they're aware what's going on, we're public, so that we're proactive that arise. We always have safety in mind when we're talking. So I think we're in good shape with the project. It's very exciting to be here.
After quite some time.
Right?
And I think the next exciting thing to note on your calendars is we have set the date for the groundbreaking ceremony, and that will be on Monday, April 8th at 11 o'clock. So we'll be working on planning for that ceremony. And that's it for the renovation project, unless there's any questions. Okay, a couple maintenance updates for you. Within Webster Middle School, all the filters in the HVAC units for the classroom have been replaced. And at Park Ave, happy to report that the 2 roller shades that weren't functional in the library and the cafeteria have been repaired, and the boiler has been cleaned as well. That's up for my updates. Really felt like a lot more last week than maybe I shared, but it felt like a lot last week and very succinct tonight.
I'm sure a lot goes into all of the, everything that you've presented. It's a simplification, I think, of what, all the work that's being done, so. But just enough information for us to be aware of what's going on. And any questions from the committee? No? Okay, great. Well, thank you for your updates. And the next item on the agenda is the principal report. Good evening, Ms. Peterson.
Good evening, everybody. So I wanted to update you on our wonderful STEM program. We've had several students who are going to be participating in Project Lead the Way Showcase in Boston in May. So I'm just actually going to read our press release that Miss Birdie, our STEM teacher, wrote. So she writes, since implementing Project Lead the Way curriculum at Webster Middle School, students have been exposed to more real-world problem-solving involving technology. In their STEM classes with their teacher, Kate Birdie, students have been working in partners and groups to sharpen their engineering skills in areas of computer science, green architecture, and automation and robotics. 12 students were chosen from WMS to attend the Project Lead the Way Showcase in Boston in May. 6th grade students, Avon Papersky, Marky Despin, Yami Vega, and Ariana Senovitis will represent WMS Computer Science for their work on security devices coded and built with actual alarms. And eighth grade students, Madison Deary, AJ Perron, Joel Cedino, Ava Reed, Alexavier Crespo, Angela Sarfo, Chase Anthony, and Caden Melhouse will represent Webster Middle automation and robotics for their work on robotic pets and vehicles that move quickly to deliver items to customers. They will submit their work online to receive feedback from professionals to improve their designs prior to the showcase. So as she writes, we are so proud of these students, and I second that. So these students were chosen based on their innovation of ideas and their presentation of knowledge. As some of you know, some of you have been to these presentations and been the judges. There's a rubric, and they have to answer questions and present as a group. So it's a process for them. So it's very exciting that they're going to be doing that. Questions about STEM and Project Lead the Way?
I think it's awesome. The kids do such a great job. If you haven't gone to one, I would highly recommend going. The kids are pretty awesome.
Yeah, and just that connection between the middle and the high school Project Lead the Way. You know, as you are aware, we've said it in other presentations that some of these students who are presenting are not your typical A students in their core classes. So this gives them a great opportunity to present their knowledge and their ability to use their hands and their knowledge and presentation skills. So it's a great outlet for them. Ms. Perangeli already updated you on our February vacation attendance camp, or what do we call it?
Academy.
Academy.
Attendance academy.
So some of them have earned some time back as the grant has, that's what the grant is for, so they can earn some of their days back that they are absent, and of course the academics because of the link there. So I did want to update you on some data I had presented when we were at 82 days of school, and so now we're at 110 days of school. So I just wanted to update you on a little bit of progress with our attendance. So overall, last time I presented, when we were at 82 days, we had 90.7% attendance rate. That's 90% kids who are attending. Right now, it's 91%, so we have a little bit of growth. Unfortunately, our chronic absentee is still pretty high. I believe it was December I presented this, was 31.3, and we're at 34.6. Friday is still the highest day that students are absent, with 88.8% of students attending. December is the lowest attendance month, and February actually has been the highest attendance month, with 91% of students attending. So even with vacation and there's a lot of sickness going on right now, coming back from vacation, so that's not bad. I did send out a survey, I believe it was in early January, to families about half-day and attendance, and I'll review those responses in a minute. But we had a little bit of improvement in our half-day attendance on February 2nd. It was 89.9%. Our half-day in December was 86.2%. So there's some growth. That was December 1st. I didn't look at the day before our holiday break because that's not a typical half-day. These are PD days. So if I were to guess, I would guarantee it would be pretty low for the day before vacation. So I sent a survey about half-days and if students attend, and if they didn't. We unfortunately only had 58 responses. We have 589 families in our building, so that's a 10% response. So out of those 58 responses, 87.9% of the respondents say their students do attend, so that's 51 raw numbers, and 7 of them said their students don't attend on half-days. The next question was, if they don't attend, why not? And so 4 respondents, 33% said it was transportation. And then 3 said childcare for younger students, and 3 said the belief that it was not an academic day. So a lot of the things that we as a group here and we as a group of administrators kind of guessed that those would be the answers. So, so we also have a lot of suggestions on what to do about half-days. I'm happy to go through that if you want me to, or I can send it to Ms. Perangeli and Ms. Marazzo, and they can forward that to you, whatever your pleasure is.
Maybe some highlights.
Okay. So some of the suggestions were eliminating half-days and do full PD days, rewards and incentives for students who do attend on half-days, maybe some theme days like we do for Spirit Week, after-school programming and extended care for the younger students specifically. An interesting suggestion was maybe do a late start instead of an early dismissal. So do the PD in the morning, and I don't know, so some suggestions.
I actually know a district that
Really?
they did that for some MCAS because they didn't have the coverage. So they just did MCAS testing and the rest of the kids came in the afternoon for the second half of the day.
It's good food for thought, right? I mean, if we're going to ask people what they think, it's good to, you know,
Think outside the box.
put it out there and, you know, maybe explore some of these things.
Yeah.
We got another survey too, I think about engagement or something like that.
Was it from the middle school?
Yeah.
I did not send anything.
Okay.
I will have to check with our PBIS team, but
That may be
usually
where it came
everything
from.
comes through me, so I'll double check to see.
Yeah, I think it was a couple months ago.
Okay.
I wonder if we'll get more response. Is there a way to send surveys by text? Like the one call situation and send people a link? Maybe something to
We
think
can do
about.
polling through one call. I'm not sure about, I don't know, system that we use.
I don't know if one call would do that.
Just a link, like, you know, sending a link on one call that says
Oh.
complete a survey. Just food for thought. I mean, surveys chronically don't get a high response rate anywhere, not just here. But that might be something, you know, get people where they're at. Most people are on their phones.
True. And I also want to send the same survey to students to get their
Yeah.
input as well. So
Cool.
try to do that in the next couple of weeks.
It's good feedback too.
And so I just wanted to review some of our iReady scores from our mid-year. We do have good news in that department, so I wanted to share. Sorry, I'm just giving you all sorts of data tonight, so.
Data's
And
good.
again, if you want these printed, I can certainly do that for you. So we finished our mid-year iReady testing at the end of January, and we have some really good improvements. We're moving in the right direction. So grade 5 reading assessment, we stayed the same in on or above grade level, but we went up a good 11% in students who are one grade level below. And so that what we call the red area where students are 2 or more grade levels below, that has shrunk because the next level has grown. So we're moving the needle a little bit. We want to move it into that green zone instead of the yellow, but it's nice to see the progress with that. Same with math. However, we went from 24% on or above grade level to 31%. So the mid-level went down because they moved up. So does that make sense? I really should have printed these out. I apologize because I'm a visual person as well. So probably me just saying this isn't the best. So my apologies. Next time. In grade 6, same thing. For reading, we were at 26% in on or above, and we went up to 35%. And so the yellow pushed up, and the red we went down there too. So we were at 47%, 2 or more grade levels below, and in January we're at 39%. So great progress. In grade 6 math, we went from 26% at on or above to 32%. And 1 grade or level below, we went from 33% to 37%. And so 2 or more grade levels below was at 41%, we're down to 31%. And in grade 7, our reading assessment, we were at 29% with on or above grade level, and we're currently at 32%. And in the 2 or more below, the red zone, we were at 51%, and currently in January, we are at 45%. And for math for grade 7, we had 12% on or above grade level, and in January, we're at 19%. And so we pushed both the red and yellow up a little bit. Grade 8, the news isn't as good, but we're holding steady in grade 8. So I want to take a look more at the domains, which are the subcategories, because that's where we're seeing the growth as opposed to the overall score. We went up in phonics and up in vocabulary. We're staying the same in high frequency words. We are down in literature comprehension, which is a little odd because 8th grade spends a lot of time with that. And even though we went slightly down in informational text, in the 1 on or above grade level, we went up in the 1 grade level or below. So there's a little movement there. And then in math, the same thing. The subcategories are where we're seeing the improvement. Algebra and algebraic thinking went up, geometry went up, measurement and data pretty much staying static, and number and operations, we went up in the 1 grade level or below. So again, throwing a lot of numbers at you, but we are moving the needle a little bit at a time, so good news.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair,
Ms. Millett?
it's not really about the middle school, but it's about attendance. I'm assuming it's Bartlett. I happened to see today, I just live in the right spot. I get a lot of walkers. And so I see these 3 students, backpacks, whole thing, walking down my street at noontime. And I questioned myself, is there a half a day? And I went, no, there wouldn't be a half day on a Tuesday. And this is not the first time it's happened. So if it is Bartlett, is there any way to see if students are leaving during the day?
Yes. And it's funny you asked because we were outside today when we saw a student leaving. And the first question was like, where are you going? You know, have you been signed out? And she said, yes, I have been. So we called the office to make sure. And a parent had called and asked to excuse their child. So that is happening. Their walkers and parents are calling and dismissing their kids from school.
But other than that, I guess there must be students that are just leaving.
No,
Part of the day?
no, they can't just leave for part of the day. They have to
They
be
weren't
signed
with
out.
an adult.
So they don't necessarily have to be. A parent could call in or say, yep, or come into, yep. They don't have to come pick them up because we
It
have,
just seemed odd because they were this 3 different
And I've seen it before.
Mm.
And I'm like, are they just walking out of school?
Never hurts to give us a call and double check.
Okay. I'll say they're going down the street.
Through the chair. And I
Ms.
do
Navrati.
think that part of, like, your plea is to the parents
Thank you. Yes.
regarding send your kids to school, don't dismiss them when they're texting or calling, because they're going to do that.
Yep,
Keep them in school,
yep.
but it's hard.
It is hard. And we are seeing that. There is I find the right word. Since COVID, there doesn't seem to be that importance that you need to stay in school and be in school, and that it's important. The time you spend here is important. We're spending time on academics, we're spending time on learning, and it seems to be, I don't know if it's that they don't want the battle, or, sometimes it's hard to say, no, you got to stay there. You can butt heads a little bit, but I think we need that support in setting the tone, like, this is important. We need you to be here. We need you to be present. It's a battle. It's a struggle.
I noticed Desi does have a infomercial, I don't want to call it that, on now. I don't know if anybody has seen it about about attendance.
And like I said, it's not Webster. It's not just Massachusetts. It's nationwide. It's happening everywhere. There is a real impact to the attendance and how education is looked at about, and the importance of sending your kids to school every day, students and staff. It's important to be here, to be present for our kids. So we're trying to get the message out. Trying to follow up. I know the schools are doing a lot of work. I know the middle school is doing a lot of outreach to families on a regular basis. I know the high school is doing outreach constantly to parents, expressing the importance of being here, being present, making sure we're getting kids to school. But other than, driving to the house, and even then, sometimes getting them out of the house is difficult. So, but we're committed to do the work, and we're going to keep trying to look for different ways, and we're going to keep reaching out. We're going to do what we can and try and be creative to get students to school.
If all else fails, we'll send Miss Millett to chase him down the street. We have an activity bus we can put.
My cell phone next time.
No, but all joking aside, I think attendance, obviously, like everyone else has said, is so critically important. And some of the things like the Attendance Academy and things like that are good efforts in the right direction, whether gaining back credit, or finishing work that needs to be done, and prepping for MCAS. Those are all great things. So, and thanks for the information about the iReady. I know it is a lot to digest, but I think we got the gist of it, and it seems like there's some good progress, particularly in 5th and 6th grade. It seems like they're making some good headway. So, great. Any other questions or comments for Ms. Peterson before we move on? No? Okay. And one more thing, thanks for the survey information too. And great feedback, so hopefully something that we can explore. The next item on the agenda is an update from our student representative. Good evening, Mohammed.
Is it blinking? Uh-oh, here you go.
Oh, I have your mic now? Okay. Wow. Okay. So it was a great week back. It's crazy to think that we're already in February break. It feels like the year just has flown by. But today there was a decision day from Quinn Sig where I guess it's like a recruit came, I guess, from Quinn Sig. His name was Quincy Letter. He was very nice. We just had like an interview with him. He gave like a 25-minute presentation about Quinn Sig. And then every senior that signed up had a chance to sit with him and then had an interview and had a chance to know if they got into school right on the spot. It was really cool. I liked it. He was very nice, very understanding on everything. Yeah, it was really fun. And then I want to talk about I want to talk about some internships. So they're really fun. The school it's just like really way it's just a really great way of sending students out and letting students find a path or a career path that they want to go into and learn more about that career path. So for the marketing internships, the students are sent out to Choice One Temps and then Choice One Graphics. Um, Choice One Temps is like an employing agency, and then Choice One Graphics is like they make T-shirts and posters and big banners and stuff. It's really fun. It's really creative. I work in the Choice One Temp area. It's really fun. I sit in the office. I do emails to like different businesses, and everybody inside the office is very nice, very sweet. And then for the biomed students for the internships, they go on Gentex. Um, from the looks of it, it's gone really smooth. I don't know more. I don't know much about it, but I just know that it's fun for the students that go on it. And there is a bus that takes us from and to there. And yeah, those are all my updates.
Excellent. Thanks, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the committee? You're getting to be almost in the home stretch of your senior year.
I know, it's so crazy. The year just flew by, but I feel like it's like for you guys probably not. Because you guys are like working on the background of it, but like for our seniors, it's just like gone by so fast. It feels so sad, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Good things on the horizon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you again for your updates. It's good to
Thank
see you.
Good to see you too.
The next item on the agenda under old business is the second reading of policy EEBAA, the multifunction school activity vehicle.
Yep, in your packet, you should have a copy of the multifunction school activity bus use policy. I don't know if you have any questions or thoughts.
Any questions from the committee? No? Okay. Next item is the final review and approval of the FY25 budget.
Okay, so we don't have a presentation tonight. As we stated at our last meeting, in your packet, you have a copy of the budget that was presented then. It is the 5.35% budget. We are required by town charter to have a budget downtown to the town administrator by February 28th. The town, we were down there for a meeting this morning, just starting to get initial numbers going in. I know they are putting together their budget, and they'll be presenting their first draft of the budget to FinCom this week. And then we have future meetings set up. We know there is going to be more work that needs to be done in addressing the budget. So this evening, our recommendation would be to approve the 5.35% budget, knowing that we're going to have ongoing meetings and ongoing discussions about the budget as we work through this process. And hopefully, over the next month, we will get a balanced budget from the school and the town that we can put forward to town meeting. We will be looking to do our budget workshop on Tuesday, March 5th. I want to confirm that you all can make it at 5 o'clock. Park Ave, yep, everybody's good. Park Ave, yep. That'll give us some more flexibility, some room to spread out and have conversation. But for tonight, I'm looking for your approval on the 5.35% budget, totaling at, I should know this number off the top of my head. What's the number, Lisa? I gotta go down 72 pages here. I did the blanks. 27,300,000 and sorry. We only said it about 100 times today. It's because you're waiting. There it is. $27,315,720, which represents a 5.35% budget. That is the recommendation we are making to you and ask you to approve that budget to send downtown to the town administrator's office tomorrow.
Thank you, Mrs. Prangley. Any questions or comments from the committee about the budget? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the final draft of the final review of this proposed FY25 budget.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes. Motion passes. The next item on the agenda under new business is the approval of an additional 1.0 FTE paraprofessional at Webster Middle School.
Do you want to handle this one, Ms. Barris?
Good evening, Ms. Barris.
Good evening. Okay, so this is a request that actually came about at the beginning of February. We had a new student move into the district who requires a one-to-one instructional assistant with them all day long. And so we are requesting the appointment or the creation of a new instructional assistant position that will be taken from surplus salary savings in the local budget. I don't know if you have any questions. I know that we have had a few requests, so. But unfortunately, we do have an obligation to follow the previous school's IEP.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions or comments from the committee about this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the additional 1.0 FTE paraprofessional at Webster Middle School.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of the 1% cap of Webster student enrollment in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts virtual school.
Thank you. So this is the first time, I believe this has come before the committee. Currently, there are 2 virtual schools in Massachusetts. We have the Greater Commonwealth Virtual School, and we have the TEC Connections Academy Commonwealth Virtual School. These are treated like school choice charter schools in a sense. There is a statewide cap of 2% of district students are able to attend. So what that means is 2% of your October enrollment, the state will allow to attend. Districts are allowed to cap their enrollment at 1% of your October data. So currently, the percentage of Webster students who attend the Commonwealth Vocational School is 1.65%. We are allowed by law to restrict enrollment to 1%. So a vote can be taken by school committee members to cap that enrollment at 1%. By doing that tonight, it's not going to impact any of the students who are currently enrolled there. This would go into effect for the next school year. And in order to restrict enrollments, the Department of Ed requires a vote to be taken prior to March 1st of the school year, before next school year. The current sending tuition per student is $9,672. Our October 1st enrollment was 1,685 students. Currently, at Tech Connections, we had 22 students, and at the Greater Commonwealth Virtual School, we had 6. So currently, our 1.65% is there. So if that goes up to 2%, which is the cap, you're talking another 7 or 8 students at $9,000 is a $70,000 cap on students. I think as time goes on and our budgets are tightening, we have to be a little more vigilant in looking where our funding goes as a district and what we're allowed to do. So by putting that cap on, it's not going to affect the kids that are going to go. So we're not going to see a financial benefit immediately, but as these kids are aging out and graduating or either returning to a public schools, we're going to see that savings because we're going to have that 1% cap. So annually, we'll be coming back to the school committee and saying, we want to keep that 1% cap so it doesn't raise anymore. Because what we don't want is that 1.65 going up to 2%. You're talking another 8 students that we could be leaving. 8 students equals at least 1 teacher plus. So that's money that's leaving the school district that's going out to another. So I'm not sure why we haven't brought it to the school committee before in prior years. I know it's been around for about 4 years, 3 or 4 years. I don't know if it's maybe because of COVID and timing and everything like that. But I think annually we should be looking at this every February and, voting to keep our cap at 1% to keep kids in district.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions about that?
Through the chair, just to clarify, the students that are in this program now, they will be allowed to finish and graduate?
Correct.
So
Correct.
it really is us limiting any additional students until a spot opens up in the
Correct.
future?
We'll be capping at 1%, so that 1.65 will eventually be working down into 1%. The kids who are there now, there will be no impact to them. They're allowed to stay. So financially, we're going to be paying for those students to attend. So families will not be impacted who have students who attend there. It's going to be future enrollment. That's what we're going to be working towards, any additional.
Thank you.
But I mean, it's, it really does impact. If you look, I looked at the 28 kids, we were up over 300,000. If we had kept that years ago, you're talking half that amount. So,
Just curious about the cost per student when they school choice into an actual in-person school in another district.
yep, it depends on, it's 5,000 for a student-based enrollment, and then depending on if they're special education or require any special ed services, that increases the increment for those students. So for every student that goes out, we were losing $5,000 per student.
So the virtual school is actually costing the district
More.
more than a student opting to go
Correct.
to another in-person district
Correct.
elsewhere. Okay, that's helpful.
Mhm.
Any other questions from anyone? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve a 1% cap of Webster student enrollment in Commonwealth of Massachusetts virtual school.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you, Mrs. Perangeli, for bringing this to us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry it hadn't come sooner.
The next item on the agenda is a review, transfer, signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.